welcome to the BO show.
You still get me with that every time.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Joe. This is Kasra. Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Tonight we're going to be recapping Cass's awesome performance at the mid-table heroes of the
Heroes
mid-table.
of the mid-table.
All right.
James, my man. Hello. Yeah, so Heroes of the Mid-Table happened, feels like a lifetime ago, but that's just because I've been recovering from COVID in between then and now. But it was a 40-person GT that was local to me. A certain other co-host of this show was there as well, who is not present today, but Noah and Lee Steiger from Team Aegis drove, I guess, up to join the tournament as well. So that was really fun. We'll chat about that. But first, how you been, Joe? It's been a minute because I was traveling for work last show, so I was not here.
I'm doing real good. I haven't been able to play much Warhammer lately, and I've only, but hopefully within the next couple weeks, I'll be able to start getting back. Maybe start going to some tournaments. I think I've got an RTT lined up next weekend. So, and I will be bringing the Darkkin.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I like this.
So I've just been banging out more Incubus. I'm two left before I'm at a max of 30.
Beauty. That's all you need.
Yep.
So you're liking the Sky Splinter list then?
Absolutely. It's like playing Harlequins from 8th edition. It's just awesome.
Perfect.
Which was like my favorite list of all time.
It's the type of list I haven't played against it, but I've looked at it. Like, I don't know if you knew this about me, Joe, but originally I'm a Drukhari player.
I did know that.
Yeah. So
so what happened?
What happened was, honestly, it was 8th edition, and like I was a casual player. I played in a little casual group, and they were all just sick and tired of my Drukhari beating the crap out of them. Yeah.
Wow.
There was a time. I had Void Ravens. I was like bombing you. I had hose and boats, boats and hose. That was basically my army. And yeah, my friends were like, "This is BS," and I was like, "Okay, you know what? I've collected these Space Marines. My second edition, my first army ever was Ultramarines.
Okay,
I'm gonna do this as a hobby army, and it's gonna be my soft army." And then 2 weeks after I started painting everything, Codex Space Marines 2.0 came out in 8th edition. Which was hilarious because it just made them even more hardcore than my Drukhari, and I never.
This was the Broviathan Codex, right?
That is the one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So things got intense. I wasn't
at times
the player I am now, so it wasn't as intense. But
so if you had to pick what Drukhari unit you would be, what would it be?
Oh, it has always been and will always be an Incubi.
Oh, an Incubi!
Absolutely, man.
Really? You are a blade for hire.
Damn right. I mean, It's Kimura. Like, what else are you going to be? Because if you're... and I think my corporate career has probably shaded this a little bit. But in my opinion, you're either going to be an Archon who's stabbing people in the back and is getting stabbed in the back. And honestly, that's just not me. So you either play the political game or you don't, and you just make your money and kill who you got to kill.
That's awesome,
life, baby. How about
you? How do you feel about collecting soul stones? Put in my trophy racks.
You know what? I've often said, if you're gonna do it wrong, Joe, do it right.
All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna be hopefully banging that out here next weekend. I've gotten a couple practice games in with them, and very good success so far. So
I look forward to seeing what you do with them. You are very deadly with a fast and hard-hitting combat army. I have been on the receiving end of that before.
Well, and these guys boogie, so that's what I like about them.
A touch more fragile.
Oh, I have no perceptions of having any sort of durability whatsoever. So yeah, just pintle mounted storm bolters just removed.
Your worst nightmare.
Witches don't even get a better save when they're in melee. Come on now,
uh,
unbelievable.
the
But this
things we lost.
is trash too, and I love me some trash. So
Armies full of trash are what I live for.
yeah. All right. So we got a little hobby progress. Oh, Cascade Clash. Noah has apparently Noah's Geller field failed on the way over here. So
Yeah.
um,
So if you are going to Cascade Clash, tomorrow is the RTT portion. I will not be there for the kickoff of it. I'll probably roll in at some point. I couldn't get the time off work. Things have been busy. I've been recovering from COVID. But Saturday and Sunday will be the proper tournament. It's going to be a big one. So I will see you there, but not as a player. I will be judging and I will be head paint judge. So I am really looking forward to seeing some gorgeous armies, shamelessly taking photos and sharing them with our audience when we get back.
and did you get your passport?
I did.
Okay.
I had to go into the bloody passport office twice. So I wasn't able to do the very convenient mail in options because of the timelines. But that's how much I love Noah. I went into the passport office twice.
Oh, we have a question from Cooler Auto Detailing. Have you seen the DACA Squadron video game? I have seen it. I have not played it.
I have not seen it. What is this?
Oh, it came out a couple years ago. I think it's like a fighter pilot game with orcs.
Oh my god, that's so fantastic.
Yeah, but
Ridiculous.
I'm
You should.
sure you can probably get it on Steam real cheap during like one of their sales. So you can
I
probably
love
check that
those
out.
sales. I did,
Thank you for
yeah.
the question, Cooler Auto Detailing.
Good man.
All right. Well, we
The
have some
hobby
hobby progress
progress.
photos from Noah, but since he's not here to explain them, it'll be a little confusing. Here's,
I
I
I
think,
know the man has been doing some practice because I've been getting a lot of texts
okay,
about the OSL um, that he's kind of practicing for that creepy Votan Tyranid army.
okay.
I don't know that that's what this is. Okay, maybe.
I think
Maybe it is.
that's a Necromunda model. I think.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it past Noah to be using that for that army.
Yeah.
Knock, knock.
Okay. That's definitely. Is that
I
a
love
chimera? Is that a chimera with a rust turret on it? I'm not sure.
yeah, that's kind of what it looks like.
Hmm.
No, that's a straight up Russ. That's a Russ.
Okay. All right. Got
I do love his hand palette.
yes. Yeah.
That is something.
I do not like getting my hands covered in paint. So
No,
I'm
me neither. I
always
was painting earlier today, and look at these mitts.
I got a big tub of the orange stuff with like like the orange slime with the pumice in it.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
clean that right up.
That's that good stuff, Joe.
Yeah.
You're not messing around, sir. I
Yeah.
just wear gloves if I'm like really getting into it, airbrushing, all that, but not our boy Noah.
Yeah. Nice little fade on the side of this tank here. I'm not sure what tank that is.
That's Layman
That's
Rust.
is it?
Oh, that's
That's not a
a
Forge World
Noah
one
special.
with that thing
That's
on
a
the
Noah
back?
special. I don't know what's on the back there.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
Oh.
so here is where he's practicing the OSL stuff. Yeah, because he wanted to do a couple different source lights. I'm really keen to see like where he goes with this army.
Yeah,
These are all just rough
this is an
practice.
abomination.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think these were all just his rough
Oh,
practice models.
I'm guessing this is with fluorescent paint for the OSL.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Good stuff.
If I know my Noah, yeah, there it is. You can see the Vallejo game color, that radioactive looking
Oh
green.
yeah. Yep. Oh, and Flash gets yellow, my favorite yellow.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few GW paints I use consistently. This is a Tyranid Votan guy. Okay.
Yeah, so this is what he was practicing the different glows for. And you can see it's starting to come together. Like when you look at that glow coming off of the edges, the glow on the face, the conflicting kind of lighting hitting each
Yeah,
other. I think this army is gonna look really cool when he gets it done.
absolutely.
So I guess on to my hobby progress on this one. So I And actually, this is going to tie into a little bit of a theme for the GT, but I'll get to that um, kind of a little bit later. But I've been painting a lot of commissions lately, and I had to create a proof of concept for one of my really awesome clients who's been very patient about this customs army that he wants me to do. And I gotta say, Matt is the best assembler I've ever met. Like this
Mm.
guy magnetized, I mean, built and magnetized an entire customs army. I normally don't
Wow.
accept that. Like I'm like, nope, I'm gonna build it to my standard. I basically told him like, listen, I'll price my stuff based on just painting it, but like if I have to do anything, I'm going to charge you out the wazoo for it. He's like, you won't have to do a thing. And he was right. So I have a giant box of an entire customs army, like 3 of everything, ready for paint.
Wow.
And he wanted Solar Watch. So I was actually really excited about this. And I've never painted at like white at an army level. And in a way, I'm still not doing that because that's not white. That is
Mm.
green built up to ivory. I did not use a single drop of white
That's
in that.
amazing.
I went for kind of a muted color palette. The base is black with a little bit of dark green to kind of tie into the dark green of the shadows of the white. The gold is the standard ultramarine recipe that I do, and then the reds are pretty standard for other things I've painted. But the force weapons, or the power weapons, I should say, I am very excited for this. The client had kind of asked for a purple. I went a little bit rogue, and I asked permission. I said, can I play with some magenta in that purple? And this was the net result. I am so happy with it, and more importantly, my client's happy with it. So you're going to be seeing a
Yeah.
whole Custodes army coming out at this with this scheme.
Wow. So he's got all the arms like magnetized for the different
So I
spears.
painted, yep, I
Wow.
painted the spear, the gun for the Forge World unit that's effectively just Guardians of Guns, and the sword and shield. Like I painted all 3 of them. I only had the photo taken of the one, but because I can't take photos for squat, so my lovely girlfriend does all the photography for me.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm excited to paint it. It is going to be a bit of a slog with all of the different options and kind of taking the arms off, making sure like does the lighting look right for each combination. So with that, you kind of have to take a step back and be like, okay, how realistic am I going to make the lighting on this model if it's going to be magnetized? Sometimes you just have to paint it volumetrically and hope for the best. So, but overall, I think it's going to be a pretty cool army when it all
Yeah.
comes together, and I'm happy that the scheme was accepted as is, no notes.
Did you do the base as well?
I did. So they're custom bases that I honestly don't even know where they're from, but I've got a big bags of them ready to go, already
Okay.
pre-magnetized. That
Oh,
was
the
just
dude the
freehand.
dude is magnetized on the base too?
No, 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 no. I will be
Oh.
gluing them on. I'm painting them
Okay.
off of the bases. I'm painting all the bases separately, but this was just like the full test model. And initially, I did the whole wet wipe dried out kind
Mhm.
of trick, but he had a certain vision in mind, and he had sent me some reference photos. It didn't quite look like that, and he asked if I could just kind of stick to the more drastic sort of veins of marble
Okay.
and more contrast. So I actually ended up taking different shades of gray up to that ivory that I actually used as like the main color on the armor, watered down, and I just painted the veins by hand. And actually, all
Wow.
told, it was probably easier to do that than it was to do the whole wet wipe trick.
Mm.
So I've got days ahead of me of painting these bases.
Did you make it glossy? Did you gloss it on the
Yes.
top? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for any marble kind of base, I absolutely love the glossy look. I think that adds so much to it. And what I did was I painted the pattern, I glossed it, and then I painted the like dark black brown in the cracks and crevices on top of the gloss so
Mm.
that the grout, if you will. I mean, I'm the
Yes.
son of a contractor. Like I've put tile floor down too many times to have my grout be glossy there. So, so for that stuff, like I painted that matte just because that would bother me if I didn't do that. And I'm gluing the model onto the base after I'm varnishing the model separately. So I basically am controlling the luster of that base versus the actual model, and then I go in and like put put it all together, make sure it's sturdy after the fact.
Yeah, that looks really good. So are you
Thank you.
brushing the gloss on or are you airbrushing it on?
I'm airbrushing just for ease of doing it at scale, but also I do think you, especially with gloss, if you kind of glob it on with a brush, you can see the brush
Yep.
strokes,
Yep. That's
and
why I
so
asked.
I've got my Badger 105 Patriot, which like is the AK-47 of airbrushes. Like I'm pretty sure I could shoot glass out of that thing and it wouldn't even flinch. So I use it for all my varnishing. I've never had a problem. I've had to like disassemble it once or twice to give it a good deep clean, but that's about it.
Once or twice? That's
I
unbelievable.
I you know what? There's a lot of like I I love not using my Badger as my main airbrush for all of the detail work I do. But man, for priming, base coating vehicles or shooting like varnishes and enamels and things that I don't want going through my main airbrush, like this thing is just reliable and yeah, very easy to clean too.
Wow. Man. Yeah, I take mine apart all the time. You're not getting like clogs in the needle head constantly?
Very rarely. I
Mm,
get them
geez.
more often with my harder and steam bag.
Oh,
So I
okay.
take that
Yeah.
one apart a lot. And to be fair, that's the one I'm using most. But the more caustic stuff that I work with goes through the Badger. And yeah, this thing is just actually I don't even know where it is. But I'm looking at there she is. Just yeah, this thing is a workhorse. Absolutely love it. Big cup, no problems.
Yeah.
And like I literally shot varnish. That varnish through it is the last thing that it's seen, and that needle's going in with no issues.
Okay. Wow. Oh, does that one have a crown on it? Like can you put your finger over the tip without getting stabbed?
Oh no, this is a stabby one.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is the stabby one. My other one.
All right. Well, this
But
looks amazing, and I would like to see some more close-up photos next time, so we can get some detail pictures on here.
sounds good. I will.
Okay.
I'll get Sharon to zoom in.
All right, buddy. Let's talk about this tournament.
Okay, so I think leading into this tournament, um, I had gone to an RTT where I was kind of getting reps in with the list. The list I'm running is John Lennon's list. Like, he's my friend. He's taught me how to use it, and it is very much my style. Ultramarines, infantry, jank. It's everything I love about my army. So I took it to this RTT in preparation for this GT, and I played three people from Mid Table Tactics with it, and I got a perfect score. So I
Brutal.
ran through Jake with his Eldar round one. I beat him like 100 to 37. I
Wow. Was
played.
this post nerf?
This was post nerf.
Okay.
Honestly, the nerf made my army better because the aggressor is being swapped out for the eradicator unit. Has just like, even though I lost some resources, I'm down a scout squad, and instead I have the like inquisitorial henchmen idiots, um, and I'm down, some other resources. Like this is better. It just works better.
Wow.
So I smashed my friend Jake with his Eldar, and he's very good with his Eldar. So that was a nice kind of because the last time we had played it was very much the other way around. So it was nice revenge for my boys in blue. Then I played Chris. He was playing a Death Watch army, and I showed him why my list is just a better version of that army.
Ooh,
I beat him 100 to 20 something.
that was
Like it was
Death
bad.
Watch, you said?
Yeah, he abandoned them after
Oh,
that game. He went back to his
you
his
heard it
true
here, Death
roots.
Watch players. Pick a new army.
Well, yeah, and we'll talk about the tournament. There was a Death Watch player that had a really cool list.
Okay.
Just you just don't take the Death Watch detachment is what the key is.
Mm.
And then my last game was against my good friend Liam with his Hypercrypt Necrons, and I beat him
Ah,
100 to 70 something. So that was
wow.
at the RTT.
How many
Um,
Satan did he have?
he had I want to say two, and he decided that that was wrong after that game, and now he's running
Mm.
three. And
Oh, okay.
I concurred with that with
Wow.
that change to the list. But so that was the RTT kind of leading up to it. That was my practice RTT, and I'm not gonna lie. After three perfect rounds, I was kind of feeling good, right? Um,
I
the
would be.
week be yeah, I mean, it was, no notes, 100 points every game. But I had to laugh because Chris and the boys that put on the event, the Mid Table Tactics team, awesome team. If you haven't heard of them, they do have a YouTube channel and they stream games. By the way, Joe, we've also been invited to we can use their streaming table whenever we want. So if you
Oh,
ever
okay.
come visit me, we're going for a stream game.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, so great guys. They put on a really good tournament. It's very much like a four players by players tournament. Like every single mat has all of the things drawn on it that you would want, like the circles in the middle. You've got the deployment zones. It's a beautiful thing. It's luxurious. The terrain is done by Minor Creations. It's like that. It's very good laser cut MDF on the clear plates, just like G Dub. So it was G Dub layouts. Fantastic tournament. Can't say enough good stuff about it. They keep it at a pretty small 40 because of the venue that they've got, and they have no plans to expand. But if you're even remotely Pacific Northwesty, it's definitely worth traveling for this one. So they do one every season.
Mm.
So this was the winter one. So going into it, they were talking about the lists to watch, and Chris, having been traumatized by losing 100 to 20 with his Death Watch, he definitely was voting for me as the favorite. And I had to laugh though, because you've played this or the previous version of this list, you've seen what I do with it. Would you say that this is the kind of list that is going to try to table you, or this is the kind of list that plays 5 rounds of Warhammer?
Well, as a garbage man, I get tabled no matter what. So I would describe this list as a dick sandwich because there's a bunch of centurions with dong-shaped guns on their arms that are over here shooting you, and then they're over here, and then they're over here. They're just coming at you from all sandwich or all
That
sides. So
that is a very beautiful and poetic way of looking at it. A dick
yeah.
sandwich.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the case. But what was great was Chris and the other MTT guys were a bit traumatized by this list because I had brutally tabled them, turn two when the Inceptors came down, more or less. So that's what they were saying on this show, and I'm like, oh, this is great, great propaganda for the Ultramarines because that's not actually how I have to play to win with this army. In fact, many a time I'm
Mm.
trying to make this list survive till 5 turns, and that's where I'm scoring all my points. So thank you to Chris and the mid-table boys for accidentally wrong footing some of my opponents, I'm sure.
Oh.
But leading up to this event, I had to make some choices that, as a man on the best overall show, I wasn't proud of.
Uh-oh.
Between life, work's gotten busy. I have been all hands on deck for work. Commissions have been busy. My personal life has been busy. Team Canada, WTC practice and scrims have been busy. I did not have time to get anywhere more than battle ready with this list.
Wow.
And so I didn't even want to fill out the rubric and get the hobby points. Shane, who is the ref and one of the MTT guys, bullied me into it. I still think I got fourth place or something, tied for fourth
Oh,
place,
jeez.
even with
Well,
my battle ready. Because Joe, we're painters. My battle ready is better than a lot of people's battle ready, and a lot of people just show up battle ready. But I was I had to make that like decision, right? And it's interesting shifting from someone who's always focused on hobby first, and really like leveraging the different kind of opportunities I have right now with Team Canada, with WTC scrims, all that, to get better at the game. And that does come at a cost of where I'm putting in time and resources. And so part of it was being battle ready for a tournament. But um, I'm happy to say that during my COVID, I have kind of like worked through, and I behind me are 9 inceptors that I'm just about to paint the plasma glows, finish the basing, do the varnish, and they're done.
Oh,
So I'm one
nice.
more unit closer because there is a super major at the end of the month that I will be going to locally.
Ooh.
And that one, I that was that tournament almost died. It's Wet Coast. That tournament almost died due to COVID and us losing the venue.
Wow.
And my good friend Dan Miner, who has put that event on for years, finally got that back on track. So we're having the first one since COVID. Wet Coast was the first big tournament I won best painted at with my Drakari, actually.
Oh
So
shit.
like I cannot go to Wet Coast battle ready. So that I have like made it my goal. But for this one, my goal was I just got to get the paint on. I've got commissions, I've got other stuff. So fuck it, I'm gonna win. and
My man.
and so that's what we did.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine getting through that many Inceptors is kind of a slog because they're just a big model and there's a lot of like cables and stuff going
and
on with them.
and here's the sucky thing about just getting a battle ready. You gotta glue them to those flight stands.
Ooh.
So I made it harder for myself to paint everything, but we're almost there. We're almost done. We
Those
got there
those curved flight stands have to be the worst flight stand ever designed.
pretty
I
much. Like
I
if
get what they were
cancer
going
was a
for with
flight
it.
stand,
Yeah.
it's that one. I've had several of them just shatter. Actually, I
Ooh.
think it might be like the super glue accelerant that I use like
Mm.
reacts with some of them poorly. So I've got a couple guys who have their foot on like a piece of ruin on the base instead. They've
Okay.
been very creative about it, but like you got to do what you got to do, man.
I've seen some really cool like 3D printed like smoke trails that fit into the
I've seen
um
those too, but like my Ultramarines gear is not so poorly maintained that the jetpacks are smoking, in my opinion.
oh shit.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't sit right with me. No shame
Okay.
if that's what you got on your bases. I agree the normal flight stands are heinous. Actually, a gentleman by the name of Dominique Carrette, who is one of my fellow countrymen who made it to the Worlds, and I believe like was second best or third best overall. He is why I realized like, hey, having a bit of rubble or a ruin bit and having like the guy's foot on it looks pretty good. So shout out. So yeah, that has been a slog, but I went into this tournament with a different goal in mind, and I think the key is you've got to make sure that you're setting reasonable goals. And it would have been unreasonable for me to be like, I'm gonna win best painted, and I'm gonna go in and win best general. Um, yeah, everyone hates G'd flight stand skin. Um, everyone. But yeah, so I had to set a realistic goal. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do both. I was getting reps in anyway, not even necessarily with this list, but I've been playing a lot of Warhammer because of Team Canada. So I thought, let's go. Let's try to win our first GT because I've never actually won a GT prior to this. This is the first. So,
Spoiler alert.
well, I mean, it's a couple weeks ago. The ITC bullets have shown up.
Oh, okay.
So, just kind of talking through my games real quick.
Well, let's
Um,
what real quick what was the terrain layout of this tournament?
so the terrain layout was Games Workshop. Um,
Okay.
Day one, we were playing layout. I want to say layout 3, and then day 2 was layout 4.
Okay.
So no Thunderdome, thank God. I hate layout one. It is the worst thing. Um, and no layout two, which I actually love, but it's a shooting gallery kind of layout, and that's why I like it. So layout one and two were off. It was layout three day one, layout four day two, and yeah, the I'm trying to pull up the
I got
mission
your.
pack.
Yeah, it's on the. I see. So round one was mission F, which
Yeah,
I'm not
so
sure.
that was the supply drop mission.
Okay.
So we started it out with a wacky one where one thing disappears. I was actually up against my one coaching student that I have, Space Marine Steve from Play on Tabletop fame.
Oh man, you had to beat up on your student. Come on.
I did. So I figured, you know what? No matter what happens, I win because either I beat him and I win, or the student has surpassed the master and I still win in my heart, even though I'd lose. But yeah, we ended up playing. And he's also running an Ultramarines list, but Gladius Task Force.
I see
So
that.
Calgar fought Calgar, like literally in combat round one.
Wow. Real quick, what? What is this? What is this? Enhancement you have? The blade driven deep.
The blade driven deep is so clutch.
That is quite the name.
It is it's what the unit is. So that biologist is the reason that like he goes in with the eradicator brick, the 6-man, and with Calgar. Now that entire brick that because of Calgar can advance or fall back and shoot and charge also infiltrates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, some matchups he's infiltrating a little farther forward than others, let's say. But it's an
Okay.
important ability.
So Steve, yeah, he had a Gladius with a Biologist with Fire Discipline, a Librarian in Phobos armor, a Lieutenant, Calgar, Ventress, Aggressors, Blade Guard, and
Yeah.
Blade Guard. Heck yeah. My
Yeah.
favorite
Who's your kind
Marine
of list,
unit.
Joe?
Yep. Two Eradicators, 3-mans, it looks like, and
Yeah.
then two Inceptor squads of 3-mans with bolters, a unit of infiltrators, a land raider, two scout squads, and a storm speeder thunderstrike.
Yeah. So that's the one that gives you +1 to wound against vehicles or monsters.
Okay.
Should you shoot with it first? So it really goes well with the eradicators and like aggressors, even in a pinch. Um, but in this matchup, Steve committed a little bit too fast. He went first, and I think he panicked a bit
Mm.
because the objective that was going to be the last one to disappear because you have to deploy first, then you roll.
Yes.
The middle objective was the first one to go. The second one to
Mm.
go was like, from my perspective, the top left, and
Okay.
so he ended up kind of like he had his infiltrators screening that one out with the 12 inches, but then he threw everything at Calgar and Co, which were close to that top left objective, and it kind of forced the issue. So he got in with some blade guard with Calgar and failed to kill the unit. He killed the eradicators down to like one guy, and I kind of told him, I was like, that's where you lost it because you threw away your Calgar. Because now all I had to do, like, I killed a few of his blade guard in return, but then on my turn, I just backed up and my entire army just got to shoot that really valuable unit
Mm-hmm.
and kill every character in that. So there was like I'm gonna just kind of summarize the game, but basically my Centurions kind of camped out in a building, soaked up a ton of firepower from the Land Raider, from the Speeder, blew up a ton of stuff, and then that charge kind of in the middle resulted in my army swinging back, killing stuff, killing his infiltrators, which was key because that's how I ended up getting onto that objective once the attack
Ah,
happened.
yes.
Because yeah, if you let me see your infiltrators, even if there's a Phobos librarian there, believe me, I will get in 12 and I will kill that thing. Um, and the biggest mistake he made was where he rapid ingressed his aggressors. He put them in the top left corner, and I told him like, I did end up killing them, but I didn't need to, because he had put them so far away that they were out of the game at that point if I wanted to. And I think that's the scary thing for people with this Vanguard list is like, I can react. I can redeploy more or less halfway through the game. Um, Scouts go back into reserve. The assassin gets picked up, and then I pick up one unit of my choice. And I have so much deep strike. So if you kind of play your cards and they're all on the table, like I still have that ability to play around it. As a result, I took that last objective that was there, and I handily outscored Steven, and I beat him 83-21. But already
Oof.
he broke my perfect streak. So I joked. I had no intention of getting hundreds in every game. I will say the mid table boys did promise that they were going to buy me a chain with the number 500 on it if I went perfect. But
Legit.
alas, Steve kind of destroyed that hope right off the bat.
Do you find that the Centurions are ever vulnerable to getting overwatched by something, or are they just too resilient? Is that not really a threat to them?
The reason it's usually not a threat is that I'm typically not moving them within 24 inches.
Ah, right, yeah, because they have pretty
Because
much
I want them
infinite
to.
range.
They have 36-inch range for the missiles and 48 for the las cannons. It's rare that I'm trying to be close to because the strat that boosts them with +1 to hit, +1 AP, I have to be outside of 12.
Ah, okay.
So I'm very much invested from being far away at you. Has this resulted in times where I'm like, I overwatch with the Centurions and I'm about to roll the dice and I stop myself because I realize or my opponent points out that I'm not within 24 inches? Absolutely. Almost twice an event. But I also don't get Overwatch back in return.
Okay.
So yeah, that was round one.
Okay.
And then round two is when I faced a very interesting Deathwatch army playing Scorched Earth. So this is the dawn of war. You got your plus sign of objectives, and you're trying to burn them.
Okay. Yep. And this is against Travis Gibson.
Yeah.
He
So
has.
it's rare that I go to a local event and meet someone I don't know because I've been part of this hobby locally since I was, like 12 years old, and that is longer than 20 years ago. So,
Ow.
I've been around. I know most folks. Travis I had not met before, but he had a really interesting list.
Appropriately named Black Star Down.
It was very much the case by the end of the game.
Ooh.
But,
This is a Firestorm list with an Apothecary with Champion of Humanity. Not sure what that does.
Champion of Humanity is the ignores modifiers, if I'm not mistaken.
Ah, okay.
So it's very good against the Catan heavy meta that we live in.
Ah, yes. Very much so.
It wasn't for me. It was for Necrons.
Mm-hmm. He has a Watchmaster with Forged in Battle.
Yeah.
Not sure what that does either.
The nuances of that.
All right. Then he's got a unit of Deathwatch veterans, Thunderhammers, and Frag Cannons. Two of those units.
Yeah.
A Rhino, 2 Corvus Black Stars, and an Eradicator squad, 6-man. 6-man Inceptor squad with bolters. Are plasma ones just not popular right now? Or what do you have them, don't you?
I swear by them.
Okay.
And yeah, I just think people either had the models for bolters, or if you're running a 3-man, I think bolters are better actually.
Because the bolter ones are what came in the box set for what 8th edition, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so there probably are quite a few of those just floating around.
Yeah, I know you can get them secondhand for cheap as well.
Proteus kill team with a a bunch of shit in it.
Yeah, don't even you don't even have to get into the details, but
It's
I'm gonna tell
360
you
points.
that is 360 points of beef. So
Yeah.
that was an interesting unit.
A veteran bike squad. Are these are regular baby Marines, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then a Callous assassin and an Eversur assassin who
Double assassin.
likes to chop stuff.
Yeah. So this game was interesting because like I had to respect what was in the Corvus Blackstar. The Corvus Blackstar itself was like it wasn't optimal. And I mean like Travis was an awesome guy. He was wearing a t-shirt with a Corvus Blackstar on it.
My man.
And I was like, you really like this model? And he said to me, he's like, I've been playing Deathwatch for like 2 editions now, and I've owned these models since they came out, and I've never taken them to a tournament. So I figured now's the time. I was
Wow.
like, okay, I dig it. And this like they were a bit memey, but what happened was they delivered their key unit, which is that kill team, that weird 360 point
Yeah.
ball of beef. So when we set up, he ended up going first, and I could tell he didn't want to go first, and I was very happy about this. So he's kind of jigging some stuff around, and I can see like he sent out the Eversword to do some secondaries in the middle, but he was baiting me, and it was like, come out and play. And I said, absolutely not. So all I did in my turn was I rejigged a bit. I think I shot the assassin to death with my company heroes. The heavy bolter and the bolter just took him out. And Calgar's unit just kind of peeked around a corner. They all drew some line of sight to some infiltrators. And I thought, okay, well, here's something I can kill without putting myself in a bad spot. So I'm going to do it. And it's, that is a thing that I want to be dead by turn 2 in a perfect world. But, I'll settle for turn 3 or turn 4 so that I can, get on his objective and burn it to the ground. Because that is how you get perfect primary in this scenario. So
Much like how the Ultramarines burned down Monarchia.
exactly. And don't you forget it, you heretic scum. We'll do it again too. But yeah, so basically his go turn, like he made turn 2 his go turn. He showed up with a bunch of stuff from reserves. And like I thought Calgar's unit was in trouble, to be honest with you. Because yeah, he brought down all the Bolt Inceptors. And the Bolt Inceptors in the Firestorm detachment are a bit interesting. Because they get +1 strength when they're within a certain distance. So all of a sudden they're strength 6, not strength 5. And then they have +1 to wound with strat. So
Hmm.
they're exploding, double exploding 6s to hit. So he oaths my Calgar unit. He sends his Inceptors down, and he's just coming at me from all angles. The Centurions are kind of more in my backfield because
Are
Calgar,
they just AP1 though still?
yes,
Okay. So you can just turn that off.
and I did.
Yeah.
So like he
Okay.
rolled basically he rolled like 2 buckets of dice, and he told me I had some obscene amount of wounds to take. I wasn't close enough, or sorry, I wasn't far enough away to be -1 to hit or in cover because he got pretty close to me. But I had 1 Victrix card in cover, and so
Oh man.
that 1 Victrix card tanked like the majority of it, then failed to, died. But then by that point, like I think he might have killed 1 Eradicator and the Victrix card, and that was it. And he was just like, I expected that to do more. I'm like, I'll be honest, so did I. He had some Eradicators shoot at them too, but I got like he missed because he's -1 to hit. Those were a bit farther away. And then I tanked it on the last Victrix, and he made his saves. 4-up invulns, baby. They're
Wow.
swingy, and so like he kind of came and hit me, but bounced off a little bit. On the other hand, he did have his big Proteus kill team unit running amok in my backfield, but I had my company heroes kind of holding my objective. And he did end up like slamming into the Centurions. I don't remember which turn this was, but basically that Proteus kill team ended up just being a giant nuisance. Eventually killed the entire Centurion squad, ate a bunch of my scouts,
Wow.
killed like the henchmen. My henchmen. This game was their game because I had one point that was being held by like a unit of scouts. He had moved up and tried to take it with a rhino, and a unit got out, and that's actually when I did Overwatch with my Centurions, and I killed the rhino and the unit. Actually, no, wait, sorry, that was on my turn. I shot. I killed the rhino. I killed the unit. The unit that was still in the rhino fell out, but they're battle shocked. And so I like took the objective with some scouts. He killed the scouts. I brought my assassin in. He ended up killing the assassin. That's when my henchman sprinted up on a 6-inch advance and like ran 12 inches onto that point and just like held the primary for me while this Proteus kill team is murdering all my stuff.
Wow.
But by this point, I had killed everything else. Calgar's unit was slowly making its way into the fray, and I had my Inceptors come down and like just wipe stuff out. I had ingressed the bolter Inceptors that I had, so I have 3 of them, right? I had ingressed to hold a point at one point, and then I advanced and shot. The next turn, I charged in. I killed the last infiltrator who was on the point, and I burned down its home objective. So I did it.
Oh.
Absolutely wonderful game. He did have me sweating with that Proteus kill team, but I ended up just kind of feeding enough into the meat grinder that eventually the wheels got caught, and I ended up killing him. So his friend came over to check on how the game went as we're packing up. And he's like, you know what I do to you? And he's like, yeah. He's like, he did that to me. I was like, oh,
Wow.
okay. So yeah, it was a fun game. I did like this list. I think the Corvus Blackstar are not the ticket, but I think there's something to be said for using Death Watch in different detachments.
Sure.
Do not use their own detachment. It's garbage. But the Space Marine Codex ones are pretty solid. So I think there's some sauce there.
So if you like to kill Xenos, Deathwatch players, don't take your detachment.
No.
All right.
So
So
then-
what do you know what the score was on that one?
That one was 97-36 for me.
Oof.
Yeah,
Jeez.
so big differential.
This is the bloodbath. All right. So
Just
round 3.
So round 3 was against Chris, who is kind of the like founding member of Mid-Table Tactics.
Okay.
He is the player who I beat at the RTT who had the Death Watch.
Oh, okay.
This time he showed up with his demons, and that's what Chris is good with and knows and loves.
And this was mission C.
Yeah, so this was, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Scrambler Field. Oh, yeah, Scrambler Fields and the Ritual.
Holy moly, this is quite the list.
Yeah, when you start talking about the list, we'll see why I don't very well remember what the mission was.
All right. This is this is just named. The name of this list is just demons. Okay. It should be called Every Demon Prince in Existence.
Yeah, or Oops All Demon Princes.
Yeah.
Either of those is an acceptable name.
So there's a Demon Prince of Corn.
Here's the gist of it. 3
Okay.
winged demon princes, 3 demon princes on foot, 3 of the blood thrones, and I think 2 units of screamers, maybe 3.
3.
And 2 or 3 units of nurglings.
3
Is
units
that
of
right?
Nurglings. Yes. Oh, these are all Demon Princes of Corn.
Correct.
Holy crap.
So
Wow.
with the latest FAQ, the blood thrones effects stack because they're not a named effect and they're not an aura.
Which does what?
If I'm not mistaken, it's +1 strength, damage, AP, and maybe even attack. It's something ludicrous like that. Like it's +1 to each of these things against a target. So the blood throne has to just see you.
The
and it
blood
points
throne
at
is the
that.
one that's not the cannon, right? It's that like
Correct. It's the
chariot kit
other
that's
kit.
yeah, okay. It's got like
Correct.
a what do they call, a herald?
Blood thunder. Or yeah, Herald.
A herald.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that thing looks at you and points at you. Your anything corn that's attacking you in melee is +1 to all of those things. And it stacks, Joe. It stacks.
Okay.
So, Chris, having now played my list and being an excellent 40k player, has put together that if you let Cass dance around the board, he's going to win. If you let Cass get the first hit on you, he's going to win. So, what do we do here? He deployed on the line and just came at me. I would say
That's
guns
what corn
blazing, but
demands.
he played it very fluffily, I will say. Ignored the mission. He was like, I'm either going to table you or I'm going to lose. So let's go.
Oh wow. Okay.
And like, I'll be honest, this list hates that. Like, I was like, oh no, he's learning. No, no, don't let him. And I had to use every bit of like the melee skills that I've learned playing other armies at WTC scrims and stuff. Like, I had to use every little bit there because one of the tricks my list has is like, here's a unit of scouts, here's like Calgar's unit. Oh, you're charging the scouts, cool. I fall back with the strat 6 inches with the scouts, and now they're intertwined in this other unit that you didn't declare as a charge target. I'm still within 12, so I'm declarable, but you can't finish your charge within 1 inch of that unit without being in engagement of another. You fail your charge. That works really well against one unit, but against 6 demon princes, not so well, because they could just wrong foot you with the first one, you do it, and then everything charges Calgar's you.
Wow.
So I had to get creative. I think at one point I spent the CP, I used the strat, and I just pushed the scouts up, like right into them.
Mm.
So like, okay, you're killing scouts this turn, but that's all you're killing. So the main, like the highlight reel was 2 of his demon princes. The main one that has the enhancements and another one actually slammed into my centurions.
Oh, that
And
is
he
bad.
had like triple blood throne buff on them. My man, you have seen how tough these bloody centurions are, right?
They are, yes.
The first demon prince activates and takes them all out in one go. I was like, oh
Wow.
no, oh no, oh no, what's happening? So you know what? Like, he had me on the back foot there for a minute. I was nervous. So he killed them, and then like the other one just ran into the back and murdered the henchmen that were like hiding behind the centurions. They're all dead. And like, I had killed 2 on the previous turn, 2 of 6 demon princes, and I think maybe 1 of the blood thrones. Now we're in it, And now I've got Calgar's unit. I'm using scouts to like keep demon princes from just murdering Calgar's unit wholesale. And I've got Ventress and the company heroes. Like, those are my 2 main pieces left. And I knew I didn't have to kill them all. I just had to survive long enough. And I kind of blacked out there. Like, we're fighting combat. I'm doing every little trick in the book. I'm throwing grenades. I'm like, I'm doing everything I can. And I just chipped them. I think there was 3 left. 3 demon princes left, 2 blood thrones. And that's when the Inceptors came down and just cleaned house. There was
Wow.
he had failed to charge the first turn with one of the demon princes going into Calgar's unit that would have like locked them in place. That was pretty pivotal. Um, and a lot of the screening plays that I was doing with those scouts on their way to like the grave is what kept me in that game. Like, I kind of went to a higher plane of thinking. Like, it was very much, and Chris even said to me, he's like, I can see the trigonometry like behind your head. Like, I'm like, yeah, I feel it. It's there. Like, let's go. But yeah, like, kudos to Chris. He put the pressure on. I don't think he was wrong with his approach, but I was just able to kind of keep him busy long enough for the reinforcements to arrive. And I'll give him this. I didn't score a perfect 100, but it ended up being 95 to 27. Because,
Jeez, you are
folks, if you're
just
gonna not focus on the mission, you really have to table your opponent by turn two, or else.
wow.
So that was day one.
You didn't give your opponents on day one even 100 points.
No, but to be fair, none of them let me have 100 points in a single game. So that
Well,
was
I'm
my
talking about
difference. Oh,
their
I know.
scores combined. Yeah. Jeez.
So
Were
yeah,
those
that
were
was
those demon princes like are they resilient or
um I mean, depends on how your four ups are rolling,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, right? Like the first round of shooting, I was like, I need to kill two of them. And I killed one and like barely scratched another. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, this is gonna go poorly. But it kind of helps that I have like both the Eradicator unit, the Scout units, the company heroes all have grenades.
Mm.
And because of Uriel Ventress's rule, so I can double up on any strat. It's not a free strat, like I have to pay it twice. But because you have to pay it, it doesn't have to be a battle tactic. So
Oh,
so I
okay.
can throw two grenades in a round if push comes to shove. It's a lot of CP
Every
um,
round or just once per game?
every round.
Oh, wow. Man, that
Yeah,
Euro Ventress, he just does everything.
he is the man. I'm a
He's
second company Ultramarine at heart, but like we have absconded him from the fourth company. He's part of our
wow.
group right now. So yeah, it was pretty hairy. A lot. I think that was like the game that I lost the most of my material. But I Calgar and like one Eradicator who was like bleeding from the ears and the apothecary somehow made it through. Ventress and I think the company champion were the only two left standing.
Jeez.
There was no scouts or henchmen to be seen anywhere. The Centurions killed in one go was brutal. So yeah, kudos to Chris, but didn't work out. Ultramarines victorious, and I moved on to day two. Now,
Mission O.
yeah, so I hadn't actually. It's funny, James Lee, who said hello at the beginning of the show, was going to be my rep into Custodes, but scheduling, like
Uh,
I got busy. And I had not played a single rep into Custodes, so I'm in bed. I'm like, my girlfriend was working that night, so I'm just kind of sitting in bed with the dog, and I'm like on my phone. I'm doing the math for Custodes because pairings weren't up, but I had a feeling like of the people that I'm yet to play, it's gonna be Mike with his Custodes. Now Mike is no slouch. He has won super majors before with Custodes. He's a
wow.
beast, and they're good right now. So I was just like, okay, I need to, I'm pinging James. I'm like, what do I need to worry about? You play the army, help a brother out. I do some of the math of like what I can expect to kill shooting at what, and it's not great to be honest with you. Turns out Custodes super resilient, but mission
Yes, they
O,
are.
but mission O. So mission O is vital ground where you don't have the middle objective. You score
Mm.
2 for your home, 6 for your opponents, 5 for no man's land. It's a weird one.
Yep.
And a couple things went my
Custodes
way.
like hanging out in the middle of the board, that's for sure.
Yep. And this was on day 2, so we're on layout number 4. Layout number 4 has these beautiful L's, kind of like near the middle. And I got to just put a scout squad up front, Calgar's unit behind, fully safe. Mike brought a good custode list. There was a couple things that were suboptimal, and I talked to him about it. He's like, I didn't have 3 blade champs, so I brought what I had. But he had the tanks, and the tanks are really great and very important for so many matchups. But they're genuinely, authentically worse into me than just more custodes. So I was quite happy to see this across from me. Are you looking at the
He
list?
yeah, he's got a so this is he's got a blade champion with Cecil's Hunter, shield captain with inspirational exemplar, Trajan Vors, a dirty dog, um,
Mm-hmm.
5 guards with spears. Let's see, and then this is a 5. Oh,
But
oh, is
go
it a?
ahead.
Yeah, okay. Then he's got a squad with I think this is another this is a 4-man squad. Yes. Okay, with shields
Yeah,
and blades and a Vexilla. Okay. Yeah, it gets parsed out weirdly here.
yeah. Custodes are fighting like that because you either buy them in fours or in fives
Yeah.
because they're custodes.
2 Caladius grav tanks with the Arachnus heavy blaze cannon. 5 wardens and 2 squads of 5 wardens, and then a unit of vigilators, which are the sisters with the bolt guns.
Yeah, and then the
Oh
witch
no, they're the
seekers.
blade. They're the great blades. Sorry.
Yeah, they're great blades, and then the witch seekers, which are the ones with the flavors.
Yes, and then a Calidus assassin.
Yeah. So the way that this mission board kind of worked out together gave me a really good, comfortable place to deploy. So I had Calgar's unit up front. I had a presence on one objective. I had another scout squad on the other one, kind of to bait Mike to go deal with that one where Calgar isn't because I had some plans. And I got to go second,
Mm.
which is very key. So at this point, I'm sitting behind my walls and I'm like, the onus is on you to come to me or you lose because I'm better at secondaries than you. We both took tactical. Um, and I went second. So, like, math says I win. So you've got to change that. Mike was, I mean, it was a hard decision though, because it's like you come out and you try to charge my scouts with the one unit that can charge them. I'm going to do the thing, right? So you're just out in the middle of the board. Then I shoot you to death. What next? So he did push down on the objective, kind of like the southernmost objective from my point of view, the one where Calgar wasn't, and that's where he went. So he ended up killing some scouts. My scouts are fighting his witch seekers and his assassin. What I noticed though was it brought the assassin out because I have two battle tactics that I use in this army: Armor of Contempt and Strike from Shadows, which is the +1 to hit, +1 AP if I'm outside of 12. That's what makes the Centurion sing. And I tell my opponents, like, if you have a Vect, that's what you want, a Vect or Armor of Contempt. That's it. Now, he also baited me to put my Centurions out, but he didn't pre-measure carefully enough. So one of his tanks came and was covering a firing lane. The other one was close to 10 inches away. Like, he almost had the movement to be there and be able to shoot back, but I can get really, really aggressive with the lines I cut, with the angles I cut with the Centurion squad. So on my turn, the Centurions came in at an angle where I could blow up the tank and the other one wouldn't get to shoot me back. And that's exactly what happened. So I knew I wanted to spend that strat, but I was like, wait a minute. There's a Calidus right there. I think we actually, now that I think of it, this might have even been turn 2. Like, we might have played a whole battle round where I didn't do anything. And I was like, I'm fine with this. And then he realized, like, oh no, I have to push or I lose. So we've already wasted a turn for him because the clock is in my favor. Centurions come down, want to kill that tank, but there's an assassin still there. Cool. Bolter Inceptors come down and just rinse the Calidus before I shoot the other thing. So I'm like, fantastic. Calidus dead. Awesome. The Centurions blew up the tank. Now, my other Inceptors, this is where I looked at the game state and I like did some pre-measuring and I basically said to myself, okay, I'm going to sacrifice 12 Inceptors here for this play. But what's going to happen is I'm putting them dead in the corner. They should kill Trajan's unit. They didn't. They almost did, but they didn't.
Oh wow! Through the feel no
So
pain.
through the Feel No Pain with
Wow.
Oath, almost killed. I think there was like 1 or 2 Guardians left and Trajan. But there was 2 Wardens that were like in position to be a problem for me next turn. And I said, I know Mike, he's not going to go if I just put 1 unit down. Like, he's not going to take the bait. I need to bait him hard. Boom, 2 units. Because I figured one of 2 things was going to happen. Either he turns both of those units around to deal with them, and I've won the game. Because at that point, I was like, he had 2 turns of dead drops of secondaries. and he was not scoring any primary. I kept sniping him out on the primary. So, like, he was barely on the board, points wise, while I was just scoring my secondaries happily behind my walls, living my best life, and like blowing up his tanks. And so he went for it. If he hadn't gone for it and instead ignored them, then he's starting to lose his stuff. So it was a real rock and a hard place that I put him between. And couple poor turns of secondary draws put him between. But at that point, he was never going to win that game. Like, I ran the numbers. I'm like, I don't care what secondaries he gets at this point. And sure enough, like, it was just after that, it was 2 turns of him dealing with the inceptors, and then like my scouts and the other chaff, I kind of threw it his way, while I had Calgar's unit and the Centurions just shooting everything to death where they could. By the end of the game, like, I did him a solid and charged Uriel Ventress's unit into the Wardens so that he could roll some dice and be happy about it. Because
Okay.
I did the math and I was like, you could get assassinate and capture enemy outpost and score them both, and I still win this game. So,
Wow.
kudos to Mike though. He did keep me to the lowest score I had up to that point, differential wise and like score wise. So he got a 48, I got a 69. It was nice.
Nice. All right, so
So
you are 4-0. You are undefeated. Then apparently you get paired into some jabroni round 5
yeah,
on mission
so
A.
mission A, the most Warhammeriest Warhammer game you could play,
And
and
we have a picture of this game.
we do. So
Boom.
you might recognize that glorious paunch. It's not mine. I do have a glorious paunch, but that is our dear friend Noah Badeau. So Noah had been
Paunch.
rampaging his way through the rest of the folks at the mid-table tournament. And Noah also is an absolute beast of a man who built and painted a Knight Lancer in like 2 days.
Yes.
I'm like, honestly, he wrote a Goonhammer article about his moist brushing, dry brushing technique that he uses. The man is a machine. Noah, I am constantly amazed at like the quality and quantity of finished work that you put out there. But I digress. So Noah and I are playing bog standard 40k, and I'm like, okay, like, this is a matchup that's kind of favorable for me. Chaos Knights into the Vanguard. Like, I've got my tricks. I think I can beat him out. Noah's an excellent player, so he's going to give me a run for my money. But we'll see what happens. And so, what you're looking at right now, look at the stuff where the Lancer is.
You want me to say his
Behind
list
that.
real quick?
Actually, yes.
First, I'm going to dock Noah cool points here because he did not spell check the title of his list. It is Pure Kamites. Kmights.
Knights, indeed.
Yes. Traitorous Lance, a Cerastus Knight Lancer with
Yeah,
Lord of
so
Dread.
that's the big fella.
This is the dude with the spear and the shield. War Dog Stalker. This one has Aura of Terror. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Brigands. And 3 Carnivores. Wow, that's actually pretty.
It's amazing how many little knights you can fit in and still bring a big knight.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then 2 units of Nurglings to round it out.
Absolutely. Very important. I actually overwatched a unit of that. Of the
Nurglings. Poor Nurglings.
We'll get to why in a second. So, what you see behind that L, kind of on that right-hand side, is like, and behind the other ruin as well. That's what Noah had deployed by the time I was fully on the table. And then he's like, okay. And he deployed like 5 knights on the line. And then he shouted and evoked the name of our friend, Steve Trimble. So he shouts, Trimble! And rolls a 6 to go first.
Wow.
And I'm like, remember looking at him and being like, "Did you just cost me my first GT win, you son of a bitch?" And he came at me so hard. And like, I'm not gonna lie, at this point, the details blur a little bit because like I was stone cold sober. Day one, I was having beers, you know. Day two, I
It's
was
on.
I it was on. I felt high. Like I just got adrenaline, like woof. Because all of a sudden I have 5 knights in my face. And they are shooting things and killing things and charging things. Calgar killed one of them in combat. He killed most of Calgar's unit, like through shooting in combat, and both of my scouts. All of a sudden, I don't have two of my key units that I use to screen and to score points. And one of my key heavy hitters against knights is more or less like down to the characters.
Oh,
So I'm
were
sweating.
was he able to move his big knight through that the hole like that you can see it
Yes.
through? Okay.
So the not the corner hole, but the other hole. He was able to fit him in sideways.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't have to use the Knights of Shade strat to walk through walls, which is a thing that Chaos Knights can do,
Yes.
which is hilarious. So, after his turn one, I am just kind of like, okay, that happened. Um, let's see what we can do. So those Centurions moved up into that ruin where they could see a unit of, and I'm sorry I didn't take pictures past this point. This was literally just like, I can't believe you're doing this to me, and you got first turn, you monster. Um, and then yeah, so I moved up with the Centurions because there was at this point I think one of the knights was in combat with Calgar's unit because the other one Calgar had just like punched to death, and the Centurions go and they just put everything into that one knight and kill the hell out of it. But this was important because it freed up Calgar and the Eradicators to shoot at another knight that was like around the corner and then charge in. So they charged into 2 knights. Calgar wounded one, did nothing to the other one, but tagged them both. Feeling kind of good about the like
These
maneuver that I
are
pulled here.
carnivores or brigands?
I honestly can't remember. I think the carnivore was the one I shot to death and one that Calgar punched to death. So I think I charged into 2 brigands.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
All right.
It's all kind of a blur at this point. And so, on Noah's clapback turn, that Lancer comes out and the brigands move around me. One of them goes, like, falls back from combat and goes onto that objective. And I'm like, oh, shoot, he just cost me 5 points right there on the primary. And Noah shot at Calgar's unit, killed the unit, so now it's just Calgar and a Biologus. And he had killed both the Victrix guard. Now, I felt bad about this because Noah declared a charge against both Calgar and the apothecary. So I said, okay, I'm using the strat to fall back with the apothecary. I rolled a 5 or something pretty high. Apothecary fell back. At this point, because Calgar punched a knight to death, that apothecary, as you know, Joe, is OC9.
Yes.
And Noah kind of forgot that he had killed something in combat.
Well, more importantly,
So,
that makes the charge auto fail, right? Because you've separated the two
most
units.
importantly, it made it
Okay.
Actually, he could have. There was a number that would have got him in
Oh,
combat
wow.
with both of them. He didn't roll it, and
Okay.
the charge failed. It went from being like a 4-inch charge to a 9-inch charge or something like that.
Mm.
So, and he just he failed. The apothecary landed where he landed. He wasn't able to do his free tank shock and just kill Calgar. And so that was a big swinging point. Because I went back, I got my primary back from him. And so that kind of happened. I think this might have been the turn. Yeah, it was the turn where I overwatched into Nurglings. Because he looked at my Centurion squad And he's like, wait, if I tag them in combat, they can't go up anymore. I'm like, correct. And he's like, okay. And he went to go move them. I'm like, I am overwatching. And I just,
Wow.
I was like, nope. Because I measured it. I was like, yep, you're going to make that charge. And then they're out of the game. And that's it. So sometimes overwatching against a unit of Nurglings on an objective where you get to reroll all hits is the play to
Mm,
win a game. Um, but
yes.
kudos to Noah because like it's that kind of general that can make a unit of Nurglings so threatening that it could cost you the game.
They're an incredible unit. They're a
Yeah, they
garbage
really are.
unit. They're great.
Trash is amazing. It's
Hmm.
amazing. So, we slogged it out and like every turn was just these big swings. At one point, I Calgar got behind the wall but not far enough, and like one of his brigands shot Calgar to death and got him assassinated. Like that sucked. And then another time, like I went to move the biologist fall back out of combat, and that's when he overwatched me when I fell back onto the objectives still killed the
Mm.
apothecary and then cost me a 5 point swing. And Noah was like, perfect gentleman. He's like, dude, if you want to not have done that, that's okay too. I was like, nope, I'm going to own it. It was a mistake, but you know what? You made a mistake and you owned it. So I'm making a mistake. I'm owning it. We're good. But at this point, like, this game was so tense. It was really funny because, we were seeing people like setting up around us and watching. I'm like shaking. I'm sweat. I was like a tomato, man. I looked like Noah's shirt. Like that's the color I was. I was just dripping sweat because every single move was just so critical. Kind of blacked out in the middle of it. I did on turn two. I was like, "Go turn. We're killing the Lancer." And then I like spent 10 minutes just being like, "Is that what I do? Yes. No. Yes. Yes." And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. That Lancer needs to die. And so I put Oath on it. I brought all the Inceptors down. I put everything into that Lancer. It actually only took the Centurions and one unit of the Plasma Scepters to do it. Or actually, maybe two. Maybe both of them. But I killed the Lancer is what's important. And so just this violent back and forth. And Noah is not making any of it easy. The last
He's also here.
Hey, oh, there he
All
is.
right. Picture in spirit. Noah the astronaut.
Noah the astronaut, indeed. Um, so
I'm just leaving
okay,
that on the screen.
I'm not mad. Yeah, you know what? He's here. Love it. So at this point, it was just like the last turn of the game, and I needed to. I was down by, I want to say 17 or something before I scored my primary. So I let me see what secondaries I pulled because no, I was what? Hold on. This is important. Five. Yeah, I was 17 points behind before I scored my primary. So I needed
And this was on turn
no,
4, you
not
said?
17 points. Sorry, I'm lying to you. I was 13 points behind on at the like we're fast forwarding because I as I said I blacked out. I
Hmm.
don't even know what happened. It was just violence, deaths, sweat, tears, blood, so much blood. I've got stuff. My Centurions are popping around the board, popping. Knights. At one point, I got area denial, and yeah, you killed all the Inceptors pretty violently. I think that's about when I blacked out. And I was like, oh no, the blood. And
That
then,
cut
the
off oxygen
Centurions killed some
brain.
stuff. At one point I got area denial and I like brought my assassin down and he overwatched her to death and like it was crazy, Joe. Like it was insane. This was the most sweaty game of Warhammer I have ever played. It was like mental fencing on crack. Oh yeah, actually, that's what it was. He didn't kill me on Overwatch. The explosion. So I'm trying to get area denial. I have my like I think he did kill the Calidus, but I had an Inceptor left. The one Inceptor that lived on one wound and passed his battle shock. I'm like, this is the guy. This guy is my guy. He's got this for me. There was one knight that needed to die. I shot it with the Centurions. And then he's like, does it explode? Yes. I'm like, oh no. Because then it cost me primary because it killed that one Inceptor. It cost me the secondary because can't score area denial anymore because I don't have anything in the middle. It was insane. Like the back and forth was like my neck hurt from swinging back and forth. We get to my last turn. I've got not much alive. I like the Centurions and maybe Ventress's unit, I think is like all I had left. Oh, and a 3-man unit of eradicators that had like come in from strat reserves off the side of the board and like was in combat with a baby knight. I don't remember what kind, but they're like on that objective on the top left, closest to Noah in this picture. So they're on there. They're locked in combat, and I drew engage on all fronts, which I couldn't do because of where things were. And I got overwhelming force. I'm like, kill something on an objective. He only had one thing on an objective and it's in combat with me. And like at this point, we're looking at it and like he had blocked off one, he had stickied another, and I'm just like, what can I do? So I brought my Centurions down. Like I had to give up the middle. He took the middle with his last knight that was kind of loosey goosey running around. So I had to pick up my cents, put them down on his home objective, where it was sticky but no longer because there was nothing there. I'm very lucky that my Centurions had taken wounds but not lost a single model. Had they, there was like knights everywhere. I would have been taking battle shock tests to see if this was possible, but luckily I didn't have to worry about that. So I come down, Centurions on his home objective. I think I gave up the shooting of one so that I could hold the point, and then everyone else was on the plate so that I could shoot. The Eradicators had to fall back out of combat, but stay on the objective so that I could score 15 on primary because Ventress's unit had one on my home. I had the Eradicators on that one that was contested by a knight, and then the Centurions on his home. And the Cents had to kill and shoot that knight, and they did it. And that scored me 15 on primary, and it scored me 3 for overwhelming force.
Wow.
5 points.
Bloodbath.
My head was spinning. I gave this beautiful man a big hug, and I almost fell. Like I had to sit down for a minute after that. But it was an intense game. It was well fought. I always love playing Noah. It's always intense in the best possible way. Yeah. Still kind of can't believe how hairy it got. But there was not a moment where Noah let me kind of like sit back and relax. Every other game, there was a point in the game where I was like, yeah, I've won this. You know, I can kind of like, I can take my foot off the gas. There was no chill in this game, zero, on both sides. Like, it was just swinging back and forth and back and forth. The game was in the balance right till the end. So yeah, with that, I won my first GT.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to both of you. I mean, getting to the top table anyway is a huge accomplishment unto
Absolutely.
itself.
And like Chaos Knights isn't a faction that is up there that we're hearing about. It's not Custodes. Love you too, brother. It's not Custodes. It's not Necrons. So it takes quite the pilot to do what Noah does with Chaos Knights. Like amazing. But yeah, that was it. So I'm done with the best general for now. Like I gotta get my painting up to where my level is. I let myself have this one, but yeah, I'm happy I walked away with it's that plaque right there. Boop.
Oh,
my best general one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the experience, and I am taking this weekend off of playing. I'm going to be at Cascade, going to be judging.
Oh.
There's me with my paunch and
with the plaque,
holding the plaque. Yeah, did the Art of War jersey proud. Funny thing, and this is not real. It's just because scores have not gone in and the boys have not played in many events. But technically, I'm the highest ranked ITC player on Art of
Oh
War.
my
Boom.
man.
But as I said, that's not real. Like John and Jack and Richard and Nick will just go on to one event and like just over overtake me very quickly. But I am very proud of that. I feel like I'm earning my place on that team right now. So
Absolutely.
so yeah, we've got Cascade this weekend. I'm really looking forward to that. But then after that, I am like going. I'm even putting aside the commissions for like a couple weeks because I want to focus on um, really painting my army and doing something with my display. Like you're gonna get some messages about this show, by the way. Something with my display to convert the Gulliman centricity of it to make it make sense for Calgar as well, because I don't have time to build the monstrosity, including the Thunderhawk gunship that I was messaging you about before. I'm crazy,
Ah,
people, by the way.
yes.
Just like if you don't know this about me, I'm insane, and I am considering buying a Thunderhawk gunship strictly for a display board. But that's going to take some time. While I'm insane, I'm a realist. So you're going to get some messages, Joe. I want
All
your two
right.
cents. But yeah, that's me. So you're going to an RTT.
Yeah. So that'll be not this weekend, but next weekend. So we'll see. Taking. I've only got. I've only played 4 games since the data slate, and all of them have been with Drakari. So um, I'm on a little hot streak with them. But yeah.
What do you think's like your bad matchup with that army?
Probably somebody who can out garbage man me.
Mm,
So and then, well, I mean, I'm sure the Necron list is just gonna be miserable. But
it's heinous.
I have Melta at least.
Melta is a
I
good
have one
start.
unit of Melta. Yep.
What do you
Yep.
have? What do you have that has grenades on it?
The Scourges and I think just the Witches. So not a
You're
lot.
gonna want to remember where they're positioned.
Yeah, I do have
Um,
Reaver jet bikes though, and they do
the drive-by,
the drive
perfect.
by. Yep.
Mortal wounds. That's what we need, baby. That's how we
Yeah.
kill Satan. Star gods, beware. Sounds like you've got a local friend who's
Yes.
coming for
He'll
blood.
be at the RTT with me. So
GST is a lot of trash, and their trash comes back.
it
So
does. But I can get up in his grill to hope maybe kill him off before they regenerate. So
yes, GST do not like being tagged and do not like when you're everywhere. Noah
hmm
taught me this.
so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm hopeful.
Awesome.
I still have quite a bit to paint between now and then. So uh, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Oh, mandrakes, they're awesome too. So I've got
Mandrakes are cool. I'm looking forward to that hunting
yeah.
box.
Yep.
I kind of want those Night Lords. Just saying.
All right.
Just saying.
All right,
I don't
buddy.
need the Mandrakes. I have like the original pewter ones, and I don't hate them. Plus, you could
Oh,
kill a man with
nice.
them.
Yeah, yeah. I've just got crappy fine cast ones, and they are.
Yeah.
I hate their swords are so thin. They're just like perma warped. Even if you bend them back into
Yeah.
place,
I
it's
think five
just
of mine are fine cast, and like a couple of their blades just broke off. And so I think I replaced them with like plastic daggers. I'm like, fuck this.
yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, I think we're good. Thank you. Wow, we hit an hour and a half. I did not expect that. So this might be our longest show ever.
I think so, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. I talk a lot if you let me.
Yeah. Well, congratulations again, bro, and proud of
Thank you
you.
very
Proud of you
much.
both. So, and good luck with everyone going to Cascade Clash tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah, if you're at Cascade, please don't be a stranger. Come say hi. Much love, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Like and subscribe. Take care, everyone.
Good man. See ya.